Hi, I'm Steve, the introverted traveler. I've made it my mission in life to explore the beaches, deserts, mountains, and even cityscapes around us, and to do so while avoiding contact with as many people as possible. And although I will never hang out with you for any reason, I do invite you to join me on my journey. Come and see the world through the eyes of an extreme introvert. On this edition, we are in Robert Louis Stevenson State Park, hiking to Mount St. Helena, the highest point in Napa County, California. Along the way, we will see historic markers, enjoy local geology, mock the silly trail warning signs, and take in the beauty of the surrounding wine country. All this and much more on this Introverted Travels. Greetings. Once again, we're back here on yet another adventure, and today we're in Robert Louis Stevenson Park in the wine country near Calistoga, California, and we're on our way to one of the highest peaks. Actually, I believe it is the highest peak in the area, Mount St. Helena. So I'm here on a Monday, and usually I do this on Sunday, but unfortunately something came up over the weekend. So I'm here at the beginning of the work week, and guess what? Even though I'm here when there's not supposed to be anybody out, there's people. I've already seen two people on this trail. Now, mind you, the trailhead was not full. The parking lot was relatively, maybe half, maybe even less than half, but that's still people. And no matter what I do, of course, I'm also in a more busy area, so I can't go on that rant about how I've gone miles and miles and miles out and there's still people, because I haven't gone miles and miles and miles out. I'm in the Bay Area-ish vicinity. However, I was hoping. An introverted man can wish, can he? I can have my dreams, can't I, of a peopleless trail and a peopleless world. Again, no people, just dogs, just planet of the dogs. But enough of that crap, enough of that stupidity. It's, of course, and I see people, I'll turn on the GoPro and I'll make a rant, and whine and complain like I always do. But in this particular case, we got 5 miles up, 5 miles back, but that's an all-trail estimate, so we probably have 6 miles up and 6 miles back. I have to do this before dark. It gets dark about 5 o'clock right now, and it's somewhere around 10:30. So we're gonna go, we're gonna make it to the top, we're gonna hide in bushes whenever people are around, typical stuff. Let's go. Well, here's something, possibly historic, possibly artistic. Let's see. It says, this tablet placed by the Club Women of Napa County marks the site of the cabin occupied in 1880 by Robert Louis Stevenson and bride Willie. Okay, it's really hard to read this, but basically what this is telling us is that Robert Louis Stevenson, the author, I'm in Robert Louis Stevenson Park. What did you think this was named after? But yeah, so the author, he had a cabin here, which would make sense. It was probably right over in that general area. That looks like it, once held something. Cabin, McDonald's, something like that. Let's see what else it says here. It says doomed to not winter, only spring, a being. Okay, it's pretty deteriorated, and I read well, but I don't read very fast, so I'm not able to really understand what it's saying. But yeah, there was a cabin here. It was a historic cabin, Robert Louis Stevenson. But unfortunately, today, which is not 1880, there are people on this trail. I'm on this trail. Robert Louis Stevenson's not on this trail, but there's a family behind me. Luckily, they're traveling with a child, which when you're hiking is a liability, because have you ever traveled with kids? Have you ever hiked with kids? I mean, unless you've got an extraordinarily athletically gifted child, there's going to be whining, there's going to be dragging, there's going to be screaming, there's going to be crying. Of course, the only difference between me and the child is I have a GoPro, but my whining, screaming, and crying doesn't slow me down. stopping to read dilapidated trail markers, however it does. All right, so now that we've got that out of the way, let's head on over, keep going, and let's get out of here before more people show up. In theory, if I didn't have the sun staring straight at me, this is supposed to be scenic and beautiful. But it's hazy today. I mean, it is scenic and beautiful. If it wasn't for all the damn haze, which I have no idea where that's from. I don't know if there's a fire. I mean, it's January, so probably not. I don't know if that's just like fog. But every time I'm at any beautiful overlook, there's always haze. I swear, like every video I make is nothing but haze. That's just my luck. It's haze and dirty, unscenic fire road. Welcome to the wine country, folks. Welcome to the Bay Area in general. It's hazy views and dirty fire roads. Seems to be a pattern on the hikes that I do here, but that's okay. I think we're making okay time. Unfortunately, that family caught up with me because, as is typical for me, let me get you out of the sun here, as is typical for me, I got off on a wrong trail, so they caught up to me. But then again, you know, children being the slow liability they are, they stopped and took a break back there. So I'm ahead again, and this turtle is trying to double time it to avoid any more interactions with families or people in general. All right, let's go up this dirty, filthy fire road. Let's look at these hazy views, and let's go. Well, here's where I am so far. I'm, let's see, I should have guessed, probably had checked the trails map before I started the video, but I am 2 miles in to the 10-mile hike. That means I'm a little under, I'm about 2.5, 3 miles away from the peak, and then, you know, the 5 miles back down where I'm grumbling and complaining that it's 5 miles, and, you know, it seems so much longer than on the way up. But until we're at that part where I'm grumbling and complaining, let's look at the beautiful views. At the moment, I'm out here by myself, but I know there's somebody behind me because I heard the pitter-patter of other people and felt the love and happiness and hope draining from my, you know, heart and soul. So I know they're on the trail with me, but at the moment, we've got nice views. It doesn't exactly even it out, but it brings a little bit of my life back, just a tiny bit. Until the emotional vampires that are other people show up behind me and, you know, try to say hello to me. Oh. But let's not think negative. Let's think positive. Like, I can get ahead of them, hide in a bush, and they can pass me before, you know, they can greet me. All right. You know the problem with fire roads? They're freaking boring. I mean, right now I'm just literally walking up a road. I'm not scaling a cliff. I'm not bouldering. I'm not going through beautiful forest. I mean, there's trees here and there's some geology somewhere around here. There's like a rock or two, but there's not a lot to look at. So it's literally just me alone with my thoughts. Have you seen my videos? Would you want to be alone with the thoughts of somebody who comes up with this stuff? But alas, as I've said before, All Trails loves fire roads. I don't know why it loves fire roads, but it's got me on a fire road. Of course, I also think this is the only way up to the peak. And we are headed to a nice, beautiful mountain peak in the boringest way possible. Well, it's Monday. I guess it fits with the theme, but yeah. So far, it's not the other people that are bothering me at the moment. It's just tedium. You know, I'm like a little kid. I need something to keep me entertained, and all I'm getting are dirt road and, you know, trees. I mean, trees are cool, but they're not TV or, you know, clowns or something like that. But to get to the cool thing, I have to do the boring fire road. So I'll stifle the grumbling, at least for a few minutes, and I'll try to get to the top. Just to break up the monotony of the fire road, there's some rocks and a power pole. That's about how exciting this hike is so far. Again, beautiful views, but hazy. Power pole, not hazy. And rocks, which may or may not be natural. I mean, they're natural rocks, but they may have been stacked there by a bulldozer because there's a power pole. I don't know, but those are the sights. A little bit of a hazy view, dirt fire road, and rocks. What a way to start a week. They decided to spice up the fire road and add trees, like big trees, not just the little shrubs that were along before. So yeah, the scenery has improved. That family that was actually a ways behind me caught up to me when I stopped to have lunch, and now they're ahead of me, you know, making noises and dealing with a child. I don't understand why you bring kids out here. I really don't. I mean, again, kids are whiny, kids are irritating, kids don't want to go to the top of Mountain Peak. Well, some do, but I know adults that fit that profile too. So children are even worse, but whatever. At the moment, I'm here by myself. I have the fire road all to myself, and it's relatively quiet. Of course, you know, I have to make some noises in the GoPro, but other than that, it's not too bad. It's nice and shaded here. We got some beautiful trees, and it breaks up, you know, the long, boring rocks and open space that I had like 2-3 miles of. So I'm gonna make it to the top. I've got less than 2 miles left to get to the top, and then another 5 miles back down, but hey, it's downhill, so there you go. I'm gonna make it. I swear I'm gonna make it. I mean, if there's any mountain peaks I'm not gonna make it to, this is not one of them. And I don't think the grammar of that sentence was correct in any way, but this is a relatively easy peak. It's just long. Lots of time for, you know, musings and rantings and whining and complaining and, you know, the typical. But enough of that. Let's keep going on this wonderfully beautiful fire road. Thank you, All Trails. And let's get to the top. That family that I keep trading places with, you know, I was ahead of them, and they were ahead of me, then I was ahead of them, and then they were ahead of me, and so on. Well, I just passed them, and I noticed something. They're being relatively quiet. I mean, as much as I want to turn on the camera and make a rant about, you know, a noisy family, they're actually being relatively peaceful, which is making me wonder. Maybe my message is starting to sink into the zeitgeist of our society. Maybe people are finally starting to realize that nature is not the freaking mall or Disneyland or McDonald's or whatever other corporate crap they're into. That you don't come out here like you would anywhere else. Yes, people have a right to use this place in theory, but they don't have the right to bring their real world problems and to force their noises and hooting and hollering and whatever the hell else they do onto other people, because nature is a commons. We all have access to it and we can all benefit from it. But somebody like me can't benefit from it. Well, frankly, I can't benefit from it if you're here, but I really can't benefit from it if you're here making noises, talking about your stupid lives, and, you know, thinking that you're the most important things in the world. That's not what nature is for. I mean, we don't allow people to talk in crowded movie theaters. That's shunned. We don't allow them to talk in libraries. That's shunned. Why should a natural commons be any different? We're here to enjoy nature. Yes, you could argue that humans are nature, but frankly, humans are the most uninteresting part of nature. So, bottom line, and moral of the story, is just shut up. Come out here, shut up, unless you're renting into a GoPro, and let others have their peace. And that family seems to get this. So although I will usually rant against other people I see on the trail, in this case, they're doing it relatively correctly. Finally, this is my mission in life, folks. I'm beginning to think I'm doing the work of the universe by telling the rest of you to shut the hell up. So I'm going to spread the message, and I'm going to say it once again. When you're out in nature, shut the hell up. That's your message for today. Inspiration and all. How did I know these were going to show up? Okay, private property beyond this point. Right to pass by permission and subject to control of owner. Any entry beyond this point is at your own risk. Isn't hiking always at my own risk? I mean, yeah, I'm in a state park, but I still run the risk of sliding, slipping, falling, breaking, and getting in conversation with other people. I mean, those are all horrible, dangerous risks that I face on my own. Then we get this one. Notice, radio frequency fields beyond this point may exceed the FCC general public exposure limit. All right, so they're gonna bake my brain like a baked potato. That's okay. I mean, I've had to listen to mind-numbing conversations on the trail for the past probably year and a half. I'm not sure the radio frequencies are gonna do me any more damage than that. And then authorized vehicles only beyond this point. Okay, I know I'm large, but I don't think I count as a vehicle, so I think I'm good. I don't know who owns this particular property over here. I'm assuming it's whoever. There's a big radio tower thing at the top that we've seen in some of the other shots. So whoever owns that owns this area. But as far as I know, we're allowed to pass. There's no trespassing signs, and the All Trails map is telling me to go this way. And we know All Trails would never lead me wrong, ever. There's absolutely no reason why I could ever assume All Trails is gonna lead me. Okay, I can't even complete that sentence because it's so illogical. But I think we're okay. We're gonna make it to the top. We're gonna party like it's, 1776. And then we're gonna come back and go to my car and get the hell out of here. So according to wonderful, beautiful All Trails, this is it. This is the last stretch up to the peak, which I can already do a spoiler alert and tell you, peak is right there. That's gonna be the peak, because there's nothing higher than that. And it doesn't look all that exciting, but we'll get up there, we'll look at the views before I start complaining. And then if the views aren't, decent, then I'll go ahead and complain. But until then, we are officially on the last stretch. So let's get into gear here. I'm gonna wobble my way up the hill, and then later on, wobble my way back down the hill. Because, weebles wobble, or fat, bald hikers wobble, I don't know. But yeah, I'm almost there. I guess I'm almost at 5 miles. That's pretty nice. That actually wasn't too terrible. And it's not gonna be horrible on the way down because I'm going down the hill, and that's always fun. And it's a lot easier than going up the hill, and you know the physics on that. All right, my assumption is that these, you can see through my shadow here, are markers telling us that we've made it to the highest peak in the Bay Area, or at least in the wine country. I'm not exactly sure if it's the entire Bay Area or the wine country, because as usual, I came completely prepared with information, as I always do on all my hikes. But unfortunately, these signs are so worn down that I can't really read them. So instead, I'm just going to assume, because I am at the end of the All Trails map, that once again, I have summited something very, very tall and proven to all the naysayers who claim that fat people can't be fit that they're full of crap. Because guess what? You don't make it up to the top of places like this if you're out of shape. It's just basic logic, folks. But look at how beautiful this is. I'm trying to keep you away from the sun, so you're not going to get all the views here, but check that out. Isn't that awesome? It's hazy as crap, but we're in Northern California. You can't expect much else. Let's go to the very, very, very top here. And hopefully the Grim Reaper's not waiting for me. And there we are. Whoop, I almost tripped. I almost died on camera. Now, I promise if I do die on one of these hikes, it will be caught on GoPro, and hopefully it will have at least 10,000 views, if not more. I mean, probably 20,000 if there's blood and guts, and 30,000, you know, if I poop myself. So, there we are. Highest point in the wine country or the Bay Area or some random geographic location. I don't know. But here's where we are. And we made it. That's enough Bay Area mountain peak for today. It's time to go back. And the best part, it's all downhill. Well, unfortunately, I didn't get much alone time at the peak because shortly after I arrived, that family caught up to me again. And of course, the presence of other people, even if they're semi-quiet, is soul-draining, heart-destroying, dream-crushing, whatever, you know, really dramatic emo adjectives you want to put to it. And then on the way down, I passed somebody coming up who said hello to me. I have so much to teach humanity. I mean, I can't die on a hike because I can't die. I have to teach humanity how to leave each other alone, how to be quiet in nature, and how to let the introverts be introverts. That is my role in life, folks. That is my destiny. And I will fulfill that duty. After I'm done, you will be able to hike a hiking trail and pass another person without a single good morning, hello, hi, how are you, or whatever other asinine greeting they may throw in your direction. That is my destiny. And that is the future. Introversion and silence. Sounds so wonderful, doesn't it? Okay, so that's not exactly the peak, but I was up in there. I was actually on the other side, and now I'm down here. I love it when I make these videos like that because you get to see where I went, and you get to see where I am, and you get to see how awesome, well, how awesome I am, obviously, but how awesome it is that you can hike to wonderful, beautiful places like up there. Okay, it wasn't that beautiful. There was a cell tower up there, but you get to hike to these really cool places, and it looks really, really hard, but, you know, in retrospect, when you're coming back down, and you turn on the camera, or, you know, or just look back if you don't have a GoPro. I don't know why you wouldn't have a GoPro. I mean, who are you gonna rant to if you don't have a GoPro? But yeah, you look up and you're like, huh, that looks hard, and I did it. Oh, congratulations. We made it to yet another peak, and to the top of the world, so to speak, once again. But unfortunately, I see people coming down at me, and I'm gonna run. I'm gonna scurry in this direction like, you know, a rabid raccoon, and I'm gonna go back to my car. So I have to say, the fire road isn't nearly as boring when you're zooming down it, you know, going downhill. I'm making actually really good progress, really good time. And here I was, afraid I wouldn't make it back before dark because, you know, I am a turtle and turtles don't go very fast. But fortunately, at the decline here, I'm doing a lot better. And this is, you know, there's different type of declines when you're hiking. There's nasty declines, which are also nasty inclines. And so, you know, coming off of Mount St. Helens took me quite a while because, you know, that volcano's trying to kill you every step of the way, whether it's up or down. But this, no, this is a road. This is a fire road. And as much as I complain about being on a fire road, and I do, it's actually not bad on the way back. It's nice, it's groomed, it's not too, you know, ruddy, if that's even a word. And yeah, it makes for easier hiking. So although I pride myself on complaining, at the moment this is not one of them, because I'm actually making good time and it's not killing me. So there you go. Now watch, this will be the fire road I die on. I mean, I'm like, oh, it's peaceful, it's wonderful, it's easy to, and then all of a sudden a boulder is gonna come down and crush me. I mean, that is my luck. That is the nature of the universe. But it would make for good, you know, footage for YouTube and Twitter and Instagram. So, oh, TikTok. Who uses Twitter anymore? All right, one last look at where I am. I'm on the fire road, but here are the beautiful, gorgeous views. And let's go. All right, I have a little bit over a mile left, so it is time for us to do our trail ratings. We are gonna rate this trail on a scale of 1 to 10, as we always do, with 1 being the worst possible thing for an introvert, Disneyland on the 4th of July, with all the children screaming and the parents fighting and the strange people in costume and the tourists and the merchandise and the Star Wars characters, and oh. So that's a 1. And a 10 being the polar opposite, middle of a field in Antarctica with just you and the penguins, which is absolute nirvana, absolute heaven for an introvert. On that scale of 1 to 10, between those two extremes, this one is about a 6.5 to a 7. Unfortunately, I have seen other people today. There were other people who came up to the peak. I've seen one family. That's one family too many for my taste. I have seen other single hikers. I've seen some mountain bikes, unfortunately, and I've seen other groups walking around. So that's going to deduct the score. However, what I will say is I'm here on a Monday, so there weren't that many people. That's why it's getting the score that it's getting. However, I can only imagine how busy, because this is the highest peak in this area. This is going to be busy on a you know, a weekend or a holiday. The one factor that may change that is it does occasionally snow at the top up there. There was absolutely no snow when I went up there, but that might change it. But let's just assume that this is the best that the trail gets, that this is as good as it's going to be, and we're here on the best day. So even then, it's about a 6.5 to a 7. My misery index, which rates from a 1 to 5, 1 being not miserable at all, which is a complete pipe dream because I'm always miserable to some degree, and a 5 being absolutely worst misery ever. I've actually ranked about a 3.5 on my way up, and right now I'm about a 1.5 to a 2. So always miserable to some degree, but my misery index is doing okay because I'm by myself. Look at this, I'm out here. There's nobody here. You know, there's nobody here, there's nothing to be miserable about. Well, there's still existence in the universe and all that stuff, but well, I'm approximately half a mile from my car and I'm hearing the road. So, you know what time it is. It is time for us to say goodbye. But before we do that, let's do a quick recap. Today, we're in Robert Louis Stevenson Park near Calistoga, California, in the wine country of Northern California. We went all the way up to Mount St. Helena, the peak up there, or more appropriately, the giant, you know, buzzing cell tower up there. Along the way, we saw some cool geology, we saw fire roads. We saw lots and lots of fire road. Unfortunately, we saw some other people, but we also got some great views. And we get to stand on top of the highest peak in this area and look out on the haze and smoke of Northern California. So, you know what's coming now. Stay introverted, everyone. And I'll see you in the next adventure.